Hello and welcome to the WOMANIFESTER podcast. I'm your host, Katie J. I'm a women's empowerment coach and a mentor to badass, game-changing women. I'm here to share insights, practices, and resources that help me and my clients manifest with ease. It's my hope that you'll apply what you learn in this podcast to your life. When you embody these practices and mindset shifts on a daily basis, you will notice profound shifts in your life. My clients and listeners tell me that after working with me, they have a deeper trust in themselves, a better relationship with their own inner wisdom, and they are more alive and awakened to their inner joy and happiness. If you want more energy, more self-love, more abundance, and better relationships, then tune in for your daily dose of motivational messages from me and my special guests. If you're ready to live life as your most authentic self and manifest faster and easier than ever before, then you've come to the right place. Thank you for joining. Let's dive in. All right, on the podcast today, we have Matt and Grace, who are mutual friends of mine, who I met through my friend Megan back a few years ago. We were at a really fun backyard music festival, and I ran into you too. We haven't kept in touch very well since, but they're doing some really cool things. And so I'm excited to have you guys on the show and share your story and get to know you guys a little bit better. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you. We're so happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out.
Absolutely. So just a little background on you guys. I want you guys to just give the audience a quick overview as to who you are, what it is that you do, and what WeVanWild is.
Okay. Well, we are, future travelers, getting the van pretty much prepped and ready. I come from a remote working background, so I've been doing remote work as a salesperson for the past few years. So this came pretty naturally to figure out how we could make the most of that lifestyle. So super happy and blessed to be able to work wherever. And now we can take that work on the road. And about a year and a half ago, we decided on the idea of making our adventures a little bit more family friendly with our little dog Sawyer. So that's how the three of us came to the conclusion to get a van and head west.
And Grace, are you working remotely as well, or is that something you'll have to accommodate?
So I was teaching. I was a preschool teacher for the past couple of years, which I totally loved, but I knew that it wasn't really long-term for me, just knowing that I wanted to travel. So I stopped working there when we decided to convert the van. I'm still sort of feeling out remote opportunities, potentially teaching online part-time, just some freelance work along the way, whatever I can kind of pick up. So still searching for something to keep me busy while we're on the road. But for now, I'm designated trip planner and chef and probably driving, figuring it all out sort of as we go.
Gotcha. So one question that I have about road life, and I know you guys are still kind of at the beginning stages of this, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been traveling around Virginia for the past, I would say, like a month or month and a half. But in regards to leaving our comfort zone and being 100% full-time in the van, that starts a week from tomorrow, actually.
Whoa, that's so exciting. So my question for you guys is, or I guess for you specifically, Matt, is how are you doing the Wi-Fi situation? Because I work remotely and, there are a lot of people listening to this podcast who aspire to work remotely or already do, but there's still that element of I need to be tied to a reliable internet source. So what is your plan with that?
For sure. That's a great question. I sort of banged my head around for many, many weeks to figure out what is suitable. And I'll preface this, it's not perfect, but in our situation, what we're going to be running as far as an internet system, it's all based on Verizon hotspots. They are typically the national leader in overall space on a normal US scale. So we will have a dedicated hotspot that is not tied to our cell phones. And then, of course, both of our cell phones are both with Verizon, so we can turn those into hotspots as needed. We'll have about 45 to 50 gigs per month with those three running together. And I think we should stay below that. And then on top of that, in regards to just being in some more remote areas, I'm sure a lot of your listeners are, we have a WeBoost signal booster, which is typically used for RVs and campers. It's an external antenna that runs in the van, connects to a signal booster essentially. So it takes signal from very far away that your hotspot typically can't get, and then multiplies that signal for your phone or hotspot to connect to. So it's sort of a pass-through system. It's not perfect. If you're somewhere and you have 1 bar, it'll get you 3 bars, or 2 bars goes to 5. So it's supposed to sort of 2x to 3x the type of reception that you have. But, we're still going to run into situations where I have a deadline or something comes up and we have to go to a coffee shop. But we hope to stay off grid as much as we can.
Thank you for sharing that, because I've thought about that too. Tucker and I are, hopefully by the time this podcast airs, we've already purchased it, but we're purchasing an RV here pretty soon. So we're in the final stages.
Awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. How many square feet is your van?
I think the living space for us is about 80 square feet. And then the cab up front is like another maybe 5. It's pretty small. But overall, I'd say probably about 80 or 90 square feet.
Gotcha. I have been manifesting a van for a while now. It's been like on the background of my computer and all that good stuff. But this RV rolled into our lives and we couldn't really say no to it. But it's a 36-foot RV.
Oh my God.
Huge.
Yeah. So feet to feet, we're at 25 feet from front to back. So we're about 10 feet short. How tall is it?
That's a good question. I'm not quite sure how tall it is. I don't have those dimensions.
You guys have plenty of room to stand up in it though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's just funny because there's so many different ways to go about this wandering lifestyle. Everyone kind of finds what rig fits them. So can you kind of talk about how you found your van and what that process was with building out? You guys didn't do the at-home build out, correct?
Correct. We kind of bounced back and forth with all the different options as far as converting it ourselves or having someone else do it or buying one that was already done. It was a completely foreign thing to us, how to go about it. So we kind of started from the ground and researched a bunch of the financials that went into it. Converting it ourselves was definitely the best option financially. But at the time we were both working full time, living in the city, and it just seemed like a really daunting thing to take on. So then we started looking to find one that was already built out. Those just got pricier and pricier. So we ended up finding a woodworker in Colorado. His ad actually came up on Craigslist when we were searching for vans. And so we decided to buy an empty Sprinter van. And we worked with him. We drove it out to Boulder and we left it there and we worked with him on the design pretty much every step of the way. And he was brand new to converting vans. His background is in tiny houses. So he just decided to go even tinier with the vans. We had a really, really great relationship with him. We were one of the first 3 vans that he had converted. So it was kind of a fun learning process for both him and us to go through. We picked it up and it was just amazing. The woodworking is spectacular. He did all the insulation, all the electrical. We just kind of made it cozy and did some little add-ons here and there. Like we put a ladder on, we
did an awning and some other external stuff, but he took charge on just the overall basics. I mean, essentially, I'm not going to be able to go and cut cabinetry, and put electrical systems together and run the solar. Like those are just things that I wouldn't feel comfortable sending us out on the road for because it's inevitably that it would break down. So we partnered with a professional to do all the professional stuff, and then we got it back and were able to sort of make it our own. So we got pretty lucky finding him.
Yeah, nice. I remember when Megan told me about you guys sending it to Colorado and everything, she was like, They're doing it right. They're getting someone who knows what they're doing.
It's kind of a struggle. You want to be able to give it your energy from start to finish. Like the pride that I think people feel in converting is something that I kind of am like, I struggle with. Oh man, I wish that we could have done start to finish, but it just was a better option for us. And that's really what it came down to. What we felt comfortable taking on and budget wise, it just worked so well for us.
Absolutely. And I think anyone who's listening to this should know there's no right or wrong way to do your van life or your RV life or your wander life, whatever suits your budget, your energy level, the things that you're willing to let go of when it comes to, okay, my ego doesn't need to say that I built out my van. I can just let that go.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of where we are now. It's like we're not comparing ourselves to, whoever's parked next to us. We've chosen this and we're proud of it, and we can't wait to get on the road.
Hello, beautiful soul. Katie J here. I'm briefly interrupting this amazing episode to invite you to connect with me on IG. Through Instagram, I share weekly trainings, community and client highlights, and host monthly new moon ceremonies to help you realign with and manifest your goals with ease. Follow me on IG at WOMANIFESTER. That's WOMANIFESTER. I love connecting with like-minded women manifesting their best lives. Okay, let's get back to the episode. So you guys have Sawyer with you, who's your pup, right?
Yes.
Tell us about Sawyer.
So yeah, Sawyer, he is our baby. He actually was found in a landfill. One of our friends who works as an environmental consultant, she was out on a job site and she saw him kind of lingering in the woods. He was 4 months old. We suspect he's a hound mix of sorts. So she coaxed him to come with her. Nobody seemed to be missing him. We weren't quite looking for a dog at the time, but when there's an adorable puppy who has just been left at the landfill, it's pretty hard to turn down. And he was just as sweet as he could be. So he became ours.
And so when you were building out the van, what elements did you include or not include when you were considering living with your sweet puppy?
We definitely wanted to make it puppy-proof as possible. And it really wasn't that hard, to be honest. Looking at a lot of other vans, and talk about comparisons. I mean, if you get on YouTube, you can go down a very, very dark hole of many, many hours spent on different tours and builds and things like that. And I just watched a video this morning, actually, that had like puppy cams and little motion detectors and all kinds of crazy stuff, which is awesome. But ours essentially just wanted to make sure that he was comfortable. We have a platform bed that's stationary, so it doesn't fold up when you're driving or anything. So we wanted to make sure that was low enough that he could jump in it. The bed's big enough for him to sleep with us. We've got place for his food and water. It's insulated for when it's cold. We, have a fan for when it's warmer. So just the basics. And then Grace did do a custom bed fitting. So he has a little bed in between the two seats up front, because when we're driving, especially on long distances, he likes to be as close to us as possible. So we have a little bed that custom fit in between the two seats so he can always be close by. But other than that, it was pretty easy. He's a very easygoing dog. I think dogs in the landfill typically don't need too much to be satisfied. He's pretty happy.
Yeah, he's kind of like, as long as I'm with these two, I am good. And that bed fit him perfectly. So good job on that, Grace.
Yeah, he's actually sleeping on it right now as we speak.
Oh. Yeah, he's a little shy. You probably won't hear from him, but he might speak up.
So when it comes to your wellness routine, or just the things that you probably got used to doing and having when living in an apartment or in a house, and now you're shifting to van life, I don't know if you guys do yoga or meditate or journal or do anything that is kind of your you time, but how have you guys thought about that and worked through that with your planning?
That's been a really big one, I think, for both of us. So my background, I'm definitely very much a morning person. I do my best work in the morning. I do my exercise in the morning. I'm essentially leaving like a 4 to 5 day a week commercial gym membership, every day at like 6 a.m. and then going into a van. And of course, you lose a lot of those elements. And I actually have been learning from Grace in regards to doing some more body weight workouts and yoga and meditation and stretching and sort of incorporating that more than the intense, weightlifting stuff that we were doing before. And then, of course, as you can imagine, like you typically get more of a workout that way anyway. It's been really cool. It's been a challenge, which I think both of us are looking for. So for me, I still want to do my morning routines, my morning exercises. We hope to be in temperaments that are able to go outside the van. So if somebody wants to sleep in, I can just go outside and roll out a yoga mat and do a quick workout. And then as far as health, it's great. Grace has been a vegetarian for years, but luckily she convinced me about a year and a half ago. So in regards to sort of the food that we keep and the food that we eat, it's pretty easy being vegetarian. We're kind of in the vegetarian vegan space where we're trying as hard as we can, but sometimes we slip up. Grace is an amazing chef, so I'm lucky to have her.
Nice. Yeah, we're kind of in that same space where we mostly eat vegetarian and vegan down here in Costa Rica just because everything grows so much and it's so fresh and affordable. Mm-hmm. But, we're kind of bracing ourselves and our guts for going back to the U.S.
Yeah.
But but obviously still tons and tons of options. But here it's like, there aren't really great meat options. So it's really easy to eat that way. So what's kind of your favorite go-to vegetarian dinner meal, Grace?
Dinner meal, I would say one of my favorites I've been loving lately is cauliflower tacos. It's actually a vegan recipe, but it's like buffalo spicy cauliflower, and you just saute the cauliflower and then steam it, and kind of gives it a nice kind of crunchy taste. And then you just kind of make like a vegan mayo sauce. And we are major fans of spicier the better. A lot of Mexican dishes are just like our go-to. Any sort of like mushroom quesadillas, anything we can add salsa to. That's usually what we keep. Right now, our van pantry is filled with beans. We love chickpeas, black beans. So it makes storage a lot easier too, because our fridge is really tiny. So we don't worry about like meat spoiling or stuff like that. So it's actually pretty easy.
Nice. We have been doing that cauliflower barbecue wings as well. We've been having a hard time getting them crispy. So you said to saute and then steam?
Yeah, I usually saute them. I like to kind of burn them a little bit, get the edges a little crispy, and then steam them to just soften them up a little bit. We also are loving chickpea salad, kind of like a chicken salad that we make just with smashed chickpeas and pickles and jalapenos, and that's our other go-to. You can throw it in a wrap, you can have it with crackers or over spinach. Those are my go-to. Like if I don't have anything, that's what I'm making.
I love it. And what about y'all's travel plans? What is next for you? You said that you've been traveling a bit over Virginia, but are you going beyond? What's the plan?
So our plan right now, we're kind of keeping an eye on the weather because we don't really have strict time constraints on where we're going and how long we're going to be there. So we're going to head out west, and we're probably going to take the southern route just to stay in some warmer temperatures while we make our way. Yeah, our first really official stop is going to be in New Mexico. Obviously it's going to take us a while to get there. So there'll be the random overnight spots, Walmart parking lots here and there, I'm sure. We're kind of hoping to land in New Mexico and then slowly go across Arizona and up California. We don't have any sort of AC unit or, we have a portable heater. So ideally our plan is to kind of stay in milder temperatures. So we're kind of going to just go with the weather, and, if somebody has a recommendation on where to go, then we don't really want to be tied to a certain trip route, strict guidelines. We're kind of just going with wherever we feel like going. Tons of national parks. I'm really excited. We haven't really done much travel out west. So we've done a little bit in California, but as far as like Utah, Colorado, and we're just total noobs. So we're going to just see what it's all about, really.
Well, y'all are in for a treat, let me tell you. I'm not super familiar with out west, not as much as my partner Tucker is because he's from California, but I've been from Austin up to Northern California a few times now. I'm about to do it again. Goodness gracious, there's just so much to see. And the East is beautiful too. I love the Blue Ridge Mountains, and there's just so much beauty in the East as well. But I'm just so excited to see where you guys go and what resonates with you guys. And I'm sure, like you said, you're going to cross paths with people that are like, hey, we're heading up this way. And you're going to be like, cool, we can do that too. Just kind of go with the flow.
That's one of the coolest things. I think both of us can get on our soapbox pretty quickly with this. There's still a lot of real life that's going to happen in the van. This isn't some sort of like fantasy trip. Like there's still things that we have to do, and there's still, some work to be done at the end of a work day or at the end of a work week. Like you're just so much closer to a cool place you've never been to than being stuck at a home base and then having to get a flight or train or go somewhere else or have to plan for it. And the second piece is that there's so many people across the country that we only get to see, maybe on holidays or when they're in town. And I think you've probably seen it yourself. When you're on the road and you're the flexible one, it's really cool to sort of be pulled in different directions for people to say, hey, like we're going to be here. Maybe they want to go on a trip and they have been kind of sandbagging it because they don't have another couple to go with. And it's like, well, we're in the van, give us a couple of days and we'll meet you there. Or we'll go to the Grand Canyon together. Or you never been to Canada? Neither of us. Let's go together. So we don't really have high hopes, which is fine if we're just going to kind of go with the flow. But I think it's going to be really cool to not only explore ourselves, but I think we may actually pull some of our friends out on the road with us too. So pretty excited.
Yeah, how fun. So you kind of touched on something that I want to explore a little bit. You mentioned how, there's a lot of experience still yet to be had and work to be done and that kind of thing. I feel very fortunate as someone who actually bought a van at the end of 2017, and I decked out the inside and put a bed in there and got a Yeti and built all these shelves. It was kind of like a weekender. And I met my now boyfriend Tucker, and he was like, you should really take that to a mechanic before you drive it anywhere. And so I took it to his brother, who's a mechanic, and he was like, oh, no, you cannot drive this. It is all rusted out underneath. It is not.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I had to sell it. Anyway, there's all these hurdles and things that come up in life on the road and in living life outside of what everyone else is doing. And I feel very fortunate that there's all these van lifers out there who have kind of trailblazed before us and shown very openly some things that have gone wrong and some things to avoid and pro tips and that kind of thing. Are there any resources that you guys have found really helpful, like other van lifers that you follow or people that are just kind of open and honest about their experience?
Definitely. We've been lucky to have two sort of sources of wisdom. One, we have a close friend who lives out in Boulder, and I think he's on his second van, and his van's like so cool, like way cooler than ours, but we're not comparing. It's pretty awesome. He is just coming back from Baja. Like he does some actual like extreme trips. It's all 4x4, so cool. And so we went out and actually stayed with him when we picked our van up and learned a ton in like the 2 days that we were with him, just things not to do, issues that he had that we inevitably would probably run into. So we've had a really cool personal connection with him, and I've met some other people obviously through just social media. And then the other side of that is, the hours that we spent on YouTube for the past year and a half, just subscribing to our favorite couples and understanding van builds and tours and, steps to take to find the right thing. Everyone knows, obviously, it's sort of a gift and a curse with the internet kind of being at your fingertips, but really like all the research is there. You just have to go looking for it. The van life community, even though we've only been in it for the past couple of months, realistically, has been open arms. Everyone is so nice. Everyone is so thoughtful and will help you with any problem that you have. They want to partner with you. They want to, have a podcast like this. The same sort of vibe, you and your listeners have it the same way. Van life has been super good to us already.
Nice. And then you guys have your Instagram account, WeVanWild. And what is it that you hope to kind of achieve with that account? Is, show all of it or just kind of the highlights, or what's kind of your plan there?
We definitely don't want to leave anything out. It's almost trending now to where people post more things that say, hey, look at this beautiful picture. But in the caption, it's like not pictured. We already have one where it's like a great sunset picture of the van. And, no one knows, but we were stuck at that time. Like we went to a beach and literally just got stuck the first week when we went out. We definitely want to make sure this is a very realistic compilation of the trip. I mean, we want to share stories. We want to meet people. We have a lot of family and friends that obviously want to follow along. It is an area to share content, but it's not going to be fluff by any means. We have nothing in it. We have no compensation for Instagram. So we're literally just doing it so that we can remember it. We have some sort of a virtual path of what we've done. Yeah, we love to meet people and share any advice that we can. We're not experts, but we've learned a ton in the short amount of time we've been on the road. And anything that we can do to get someone else like us or someone else who's different out on the road is a win in our book.
Absolutely. My last question is, what advice would you give to someone who wants to van life, has been dreaming about van life, has been following van lifers, but is just kind of scared to do it?
I was somebody who was dreaming about pictures, and I tended to say in my head, oh, wow, that's so great that they can do that. That's so amazing that they are able to have this type of lifestyle, but I could never do that. And the more I saw these dreamy pictures, just kind of was living through other people, the more I heard myself saying like, oh, wow, they're so lucky. The reality is that they just decided that they wanted to do it and they did it. I think if you're even considering it or you're thinking about it or you're looking at people's pictures, and if you're saying to yourself, I wouldn't even know where to begin, or, my job takes up too much of my time. There's so many ways around that. And you just kind of got to start with the idea and let it grow. For me, it was speaking it out loud to another person, and all of a sudden it became real. And it was a dream that we just started building on. And here we are sitting in our van with our dog about to leave in a week. So my advice would be, if you think that you can't do it, think again. anybody can do it because it may seem overwhelming, but starting somewhere is the first step.
Totally agree. I think in regards to sort of the hot buttons of why someone couldn't do it, maybe their work is tied to a certain location, which is a whole different situation, or maybe it's finances or time or whatever. There's so many things that to start off are free. Just take your time. You don't have to leave anywhere. Like you can go online and start looking at vans near you, or you have a car, go on some weekend trips and try living in your car for a weekend, test it out. Like there's so many things that are accessible without taking the leap. And I think that anything that we've gotten into as a couple for the past 5 years, we always have that aha moment where we're like, holy crap, we did it. It all came from simply taking step one. We never, ever took on a decision like this where it was like, this is going to happen. It was just, we got online, we started looking at things and we started looking at YouTube and then we started figuring out, hey, like how much would that cost? Can we design it for free? Can we find some cheap software to do that? And hey, can we find a guy who's going to be able to help us out and that we trust? Was it luck? A lot of it, sure. It definitely was. But I think at the end of the day, there's so many more hurdles that you put in your mind than just saying, I'm just going to try this out. And you can always stop, but I think it's easy and it's almost always free to test it.
And it's pretty amazing because once you allow your mind to believe that this is a possibility, it's almost like there's no stopping you. That's kind of what we found. Okay, once we both got on this track, it was like we would do anything to make it a reality.
Absolutely. And what you guys just described is basically the process of manifesting, where you set your mind to something, you're like, this is happening. I'm going to just start making steps forward that seem logical and see what comes up. And oh my goodness, here's an opportunity to buy this. And oh my gosh, there's someone over here and we can actually make this a reality. Look at this all just coming together right now.
Definitely. I think that we were very attuned looking at signs for if this wasn't a good idea. As far as manifesting it, like that was really what we did to start the overall process. But I mean, I know that me being more of a skeptic than Grace, I was waiting for the signs, the universal signs that say, hey, this isn't a good idea. We're driving the van out west and it breaks down, or somebody runs off with our van, or whatever the case may be. And that's pessimistic, but I was waiting for the overall signs that, hey, you've come this far, but this obviously wasn't a good idea overall because things are starting to not work out. And has it been perfect? Definitely not. But it's just been 10-1 in regards to just things going our way, meeting the right people, getting connected, figuring it out, putting our minds to it. It's crazy what you can do when you allow yourself to actually do something.
For sure. Yes. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you sharing that with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate you having us. We're super excited to ride in a caravan with you. Hopefully we can go somewhere together.
You guys can come pay us a visit in Santa Cruz, which is where we'll be for the next 4 years because I'll be going to school up there. So we'll be in
Awesome.
Santa Cruz and we can all go surfing or boogie boarding or something together. Just hit us up.
That would be great.
Well, thanks so much for stopping by and spending a few minutes chatting with me. I really appreciate you guys sharing your experiences in your life. And where can people go to continue to follow your journey?
Of course. Thanks for having us. Our Instagram handle is WeVanWild. We do have a full site coming soon. I'm not sure, going to be next couple of weeks, maybe a month, but I would say in April, we'll have a full site, WeVanWild.com, that'll have blogs and articles and recommendations and another way for people to contact us. So follow along.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Katie.
I know that your time and energy is so, so valuable. So I want to just say thank you for stopping by today. If you enjoyed this episode, I would greatly appreciate it if you took a screenshot of you listening to it and shared it to your Instagram. Tag me at WOMANIFESTER and I will be happy to share it to my Instagram story as well. This helps us spread the word about manifestation, mindset training, and all of the good juju that comes out of this type of podcast. I also love connecting with podcast listeners, so tell me what your biggest takeaway is. Tell me what your aha moments were, and I will gladly share them on my story as well. Can't wait to connect with you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.